Welcome back, everybody, to another shocking courtroom episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. Shocking episode is probably an understatement. We're about to witness a defendant go in front of the Honorable Judge Boyd once again for sentencing on an unthinkable crime. But unfortunately, these type of situations happen way too often. So let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you need to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today.
Court is calling 2024 CR 008168 State versus Nathan Tyler Montoya. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense.
David Andre
Quiet,
Woodard
please,
for
we're on the
Mr.
record.
David Andre Woodard for Mr. Montoya.
And are you Mr. Montoya?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you entered a plea to the lesser included offense of no contest. The court found there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court deferred finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. According to your plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 7 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. The state is opposed to your applications. This will run concurrent with County Court Cause number 734433. There should be Chapter 62 registration and no contact with the complainant.
For those of y'all that don't know, in Texas, sex offenders register with their local law enforcement agency under Chapter 62 of the Texas Code of Criminal Conduct. This law is designed to protect the public from sexual predators, forcing them to register under a certain database that a lot of websites allow you to go search and find who's living around your area with these kind of crimes.
Have both parties had a chance to review the TAP evaluation and PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
I have, Judge.
Any objections to the TAP evaluation or PSI, state?
Not this, Judge.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, state, you are opposed. Do you have any witnesses?
We do not, Your Honor. In lieu of the witness, we do have a letter from one of the witnesses, will enter it in as State's Exhibit A. I believe there's no objections.
No
And then
objections, Judge.
We'll reserve our argument.
All right, then the court will accept into evidence State's Exhibit A if both parties will give me a chance to review it.
So she's reading a letter from the victim, I believe, or victim's family member or something. Probably saying he needs to get buried under the prison. Never let him out. Smoke him from here to kingdom come like a Sunday trout. Sunday campfire trout.
All right, if you'll give that to the court reporter.
Yes,
Thank you. And if you could, I think it's marked on the inside as State's Exhibit, correct?
it is.
All right, defense, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor. Only argument.
All right, then the court will hear argument. State, you are opposed?
We are opposed, Your Honor, but we'll reserve.
All right, defense.
First off, Judge, looking at the PSI on page 2, this is Mr. Montoya's first interaction with.
Just one moment. Excuse me, counsel, if you, Ron, if y'all could just move to the other end. Hi, if you could just move to the other end, we're on the record. No problem. You're our counsel. All right, we're back on the record. And counsel, what page did you say?
I'm on page 2, Judge, of the PSI regarding Mr. Montoya's criminal history.
Yes.
The only criminal history that he has, Judge, is this current case and also the misdemeanor case that's going to run concurrently with this case. Aside from that, he has no prior criminal history. He's 30 years old. At the time of the incident, he was employed. Mr. Montoya accepted responsibility fairly quickly. He took a plea, and now we're here before the court. Since he's been in custody, I believe since May of 2024, he's had no contact with his brother, who drafted the letter, I think that was State's Exhibit number A. And he's also had no contact with the young child, who is his niece.
What?
Speaking with him, he realizes what he did was not only wrong and inappropriate, but it was also a criminal offense.
Look, I'm a little lost, but I like to say that I'm a pretty wise guy. And if I were to put two and two together, it sounds like he did something to his own niece. If that's the case, because they're not really getting too descriptive with this one, right? My brother or not, if I found out something like that was going on, let's just say I'd probably be the one in the courtroom.
So there's a TAP evaluation that is the last page of the PSR report. And the TAP evaluation does not show that Mr. Montoya has any substance abuse issues or any alcohol related issues. We are asking the court to grant his application for deferred. I know it's a difficult case, of course, to consider granting a person deferred adjudication. We're asking the court to give Mr. Montoya that opportunity, one, because he has been in custody. He's had time to reflect and to think about what he did, not only what he did, but the repercussions that happened with his niece. Looking at the PSI and also the letter that the state submitted, it does look like the niece did go through some mental health trauma. She likely would still continue to experience, but she has been doing well in school. There will be no other contact with Mr. Montoya and the niece. And we're just asking the court to consider his application for deferred adjudication. If the court does not consider that application, I believe the plea bargain was for a cap of 7 years. We're asking the court to possibly consider a downward departure and placing him in TDC for a lower amount of sentence.
Some wording here that I like to break down for y'all in case, you might have to come across a court situation yourself. He's facing a 7-year cap. If you ever hear cap, think of baseball hat or something. You put it on, it's like a lid. Same concept, right? They can't go above that lid. No more than 7 years. It's capped off. He's also asking for a downward departure, basically because he has no criminal record, no kind of substance abuse or anything along those lines. So he wants less time than the 7 years. Downward departure. It's just nice to learn some of the linguistics that's used in the courtroom, right? But this guy definitely did something to his niece. You heard how the defense attorney said she's still doing good in school, but she's gonna be, traumatized probably for the rest of her life. How can anybody do something to their own family members? Believe it or not, it happens way too often. It's mind-blowing to me, and just my 2 cents, anybody doing this type of stuff deserves the worst punishment.
There will be no other contact with Mr. Montoya and the niece. And we're just asking the court to consider his application for deferred adjudication. If the court does not consider that application, I believe the plea bargain was for a cap of 7 years. We're asking the court to possibly consider a downward departure and placing him in TDC for a lower amount of sentence opposed to the 7 years.
All right, is there anything you wish to say?
I do accept responsibility for my actions.
All right, just 1 second. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, that nothing but the truth, so help you God? That's it.
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Nathan Montoya,
All right, so what did you want to say?
accept responsibility for what happened, and I do take accountability for that. I do wish that they're able to have the help that they need, and that should do it. I just want to say that I am tired of everything that has happened. I am a responsible man and will do what I can to become a better man each and every single day afterwards.
All right, I appreciate your accepting responsibility. The one question I have for you is why? Why did you do this? And the reason why I asked that question, because that's a part of, I think, an introspection, right? To yourself.
I'm gonna tell you why. They say he has no drug or alcohol issues, so inebriance is not a factor in his dark melodies. If I were to guess, he's probably been cruising the dark web watching filthy things for years, fantasizing about a situation like the ones he's seeing to come his way. Keep in mind, this is just hypothetical. And then one day, he's bored out in the middle of nowhere. Only female around is his brother's niece. And he says, let's do it. Whatever he did. This guy's sick. If I were to guess, he ain't never gonna change. A lot of these individuals don't.
And I think sometimes understanding why we do certain things will help us not repeat it if it should not be repeated. So why?
Why? believe I do need more self-reflection to understand as to why it was something that should have never been have done. Going through my own depressive episodes and self-loathing, I would say I have caused myself to go down a spiral of deep creativity, I believe.
Mhm.
However, I am able to bounce back up and to truly self-actualize myself. As to why, or that it may be because I'm also myself a victim itself, and I understand that that happens because of that kind of thing. I'm still trying to come to terms as to why, basically. I don't like saying I don't know yet,
Okay.
but it is something that I do regret. I've lost something precious.
All right, bring the smoke.
Understand?
All right.
Bobby Hewitt.
Say.
All right. Any questions from the state?
Not
All right. Thank you. I appreciate your testimony. All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is not going to grant your application.
Nice.
The court will find you guilty.
Oh.
This will run concurrent with County Court Cause Number 734433. There should be Chapter 62 compliance. There should be no contact with the complainant. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money run concurrent. Court will give you credit for any time served. I am unsure if the therapeutic community, if you will qualify for it. I'm going to request it for you because I think there are some mental health issues and some trauma going on with you based upon what has happened to you and based upon what I read in the PSI report that he has brothers who are in prison for the same thing. And one of the brothers was actually a perpetrator of him. And the court will sentence you to just 7 years in the prison.
Wow, you just got the 7 clip, possibly going to a therapeutic community. I'll break that down here in a second, but did you hear what else she said? He was a victim of sexual activity himself by his own brothers. They're in prison right now. Or brother, I don't know if it was plural, but either way, this is like a perpetual revolving door. Someone victimized you, so they grow up and they end up victimizing someone else. I never really understood that concept, but it doesn't matter, man. If it was done to you, you can't be doing that nasty, filthy shit. 7 years in the penitentiary, you better hope you make it to that therapeutic community. And those of y'all that don't know what that is, it's kind of like a low-level prison with a community of people, pretty much drug addicts, working on their mental, you know, doing programs all day, not really worrying about who's going to shank them in the lung, right? It's much more laid back. But if I were to guess, his charge is being sexually related, he ain't going to be able to make it into that program. Because you got to understand, a lot of those guys, they don't want to be doing programs with those individuals. It's going to stir up the nest, man. So, you know, they have rules and regulations. Violent offenders can't go in there unless there's certain exceptions. You know, all these little things and little loopholes, depending on what the judge orders, you know, all these programs, what they see. But if he goes to a medium to high level general population prison in Texas, some of those inmates, they do not play with that kind of paperwork. They're going to hold justice their own given way.
And the court will sentence you to just 7 years in the prison. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing from either side?
Not with regards to sentencing, Your Honor, we do have the availability.
No downward
All right.
departure for you,
All
buddy.
right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Smokeville, USA, 7 years, Texas, TDC. They'll be waiting. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. He got pretty much the max of what the judge could give him. And like I said, the Texas prison system ain't nowhere to be with that kind of paperwork. Even if the inmates know nothing about him, as soon as they see him, trust me, a couple red flags gonna start waving. They're gonna do their own little background checks. And if he's in a general population cell block, man, like I said, it's gonna be extremely dark for him. But anyways, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. And also let me know if you want to see a little vlog on this channel. Or if I should just keep it on my second channel, 23 and Fun. I haven't decided yet. But as always, stay tuned. I got plenty more lockup and crime related content coming your way. If you're new and enjoyed, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And as always, until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and more importantly than anything, stay free.